Motor City will be flooded with race cars this weekend for the Detroit Grand Prix. And among the drivers taking part in this year's event is the back-to-back winner of the Indy 500. CBS News Detroit sports anchor Rachel Hopmeyer is back with us live from downtown Detroit. Hi, Rachel.
Hey, yeah, it's a really big 2 weeks for Team Penske between the Indy 500 and, of course, the Detroit Grand Prix. Roger is one of the big players here at the circuit this week, but I was fortunate to catch up with Josef Newgarden, the first back-to-back winner of the Indy 500 we've seen in 22 years. I'm here with none other than the $4 million man, Josef Newgarden, but I think first we have to talk about the bling on your finger. What's up with that?
This is the Indy 500 winning ring. This is last year's, so I like to keep this one on. The first one's special, but
are we gonna stack two now?
No, I don't think. I think you update them.
Okay.
You know, or you get two different ones and you decide which one you want to wear. I don't know. It's all new to me. I've never had multiple wins in the Indy 500, so I'm gonna find out. I normally go to Elio Castroneves for my advice. He's a four-timer. He knows what to do. He's the one that educates me on these things. But yeah, it was a great weekend. It was a stellar Indy 500. I mean, it really worked out. It looked like we were going to get washed out at one point. I thought we were going to be racing on Monday, but we got it all in, had one of the best races I've ever been a part of, and everybody stayed. It was a huge crowd of 300+ thousand people.
Are you still riding the high on that? Have you been able to switch gears into Detroit yet?
I'm riding the high for sure, but I'm also tired within that. The 500 is such a it's such a huge, it's a spectacle. That's the way, it's the greatest spectacle in racing. I mean, it is such a commitment, to go to this event and to win it. And so afterwards, you're running around like crazy. I was in New York for 2 days with the series and my wife, and we were, promoting the race, which is great. But you end up getting here to Detroit, and you're just sort of worn out. So Detroit's funny to me because, every time you don't win Indianapolis, you have a broken heart, and you can't wait to get to Detroit because you want to go racing again. When you win the 500, you still really want to get to Detroit, but it's much harder because you're so tired. So I'm trying to keep a little in the tank this year compared to last year.
Sure, and it's really such a 2-week period of Penske-centric things, of course, with the Indy ownership, and now you're here in Detroit, Roger's homeland. A lot to be proud of on the team so far, but how is this sort of a homecoming for the team? Is there that type of energy on the team right now?
Definitely. Indy is very special to us. Truthfully, it's the first thing that we mark every year. We've got to get Indy right. And then Detroit's right after that. This is a hometown for everybody. We're here at the, Rensen with GM, General Motors, the Chevrolet branding that we run on our cars, the Chevrolet engines that power it. Every one of my IndyCar victories has been powered by Chevrolet. And so it's a hometown race for us. And then, Penske Corporation on top of that with our great partners like Hitachi, which are also based here. Everybody's excited. They want to see a good weekend. There's a little more pressure to it, but we take pride running here, and we want to have a win.
Mentally, aside from the high and excitement of the win, how do you change from the most well-known oval in the world to such an interesting street course we have here?
It's the difficulty of IndyCar racing, but it's also the joy of it. I love the contrast. Indy is a 2.5-mile super speedway. Detroit here is I forget the distance, probably a 1.9-mile bumpy street circuit, and they're very different. Both super fun. You drive totally different race cars, totally different driving styles, and I love the challenge of it because, just as you asked, it is a 180 from the way I would drive the car at Indianapolis, and not everybody's good at doing all the disciplines, but if you want to win the championship in this series, you got to be good at all of it. So I like that balancing act, where they make you switch it up and get it right really quickly.
I mean, even for non-motorsports enthusiasts, you probably saw his finish at the Indy 500 last week. It's one of the most memorable in quite some years. But Indy moves on, and here we are at the Detroit Grand Prix. The Indy races are on Sunday. We'll have sports cars on Saturday, and CBS Detroit will have you covered between every checkered flag.